Okay, so for the people who have just joined in and they are taking the first class, ESP might sound newer to them. So, first of all, because only ESP is mentioned in your timetable, so ESP basically stands for English for Specific Purposes. And this is basically a method, okay, of teaching English. I've already told you that, there is a separate course which is a part of applied linguistics. Basically, applied linguistics actually, in its very core, deals with teaching methods, how language is taught. Okay. Again, I should clarify this in the very beginning that when I say teaching methods, I do not mean the general kind of teaching or the teaching that takes place in any of the classrooms. By teaching methods, specifically, while we are in this class of ESP, I mean teaching of English methods which are applied in teaching of English as a second language. Now, how these methods were developed or how these methods are, you know, authenticated. These methods have come to us through a long research of almost, 50 years or more than that, right? And there has been a continuous research in language teaching. So there has been a continuous improvement in these methods according to the needs of the students, and these methods are just not, developed in a classroom, in one or two classrooms. These methods are research based methods, and these methods are underpinned by some theories. Okay. Now, what theories are those? Those are the theories of psycholinguistics most of the time. For instance, um, how many of you know about the theory of behaviorism? What is behaviorism? Could you go to your chat box and tell me what is behaviorism? You can even raise your hands and I can, unmute your mic, or you can unmute your mic and tell me what is behaviorism. I'm just trying to tell you that these teaching methods have come to us through certain researches, and they are based on certain theories also. Okay. So, yes, Resham Bibi, you want to answer the questions? Yes, what is behaviorism? Behaviorism is basically a theory of learning. Okay, yes, Resham. Okay, I don't know what to do. Should you be talking or should you be going to the chat box? Just go to the chat box, okay? Just go to the chat box, write down your answers, and we can pick the right answer from there very, very quickly. And people, please do not use AIs right now. It's no examination going, not, getting any marks. So just be honest. If you know, that's good. If you do not know, it's good anyway. Okay. So, what is behaviorism? Who is telling us that? Go to your chat boxes and write it down. I've put the question. How we show, okay, how ratio is how we show actions and how we behave. Uh, Not exactly. Yes, Mahin, what is your answer about behaviorism? I'm just telling you this to tell you that
Um,
the methods are based on certain theories. Yes, Mahin.
yes, to me, all behavior is learned means behaviorism means all behavior is learned from the environment. through interaction with the stimuli, and it can be explained by stimulus response relationships. That we are
Exactly.
not born with complex behaviors, instead, behavior is acquired through experience, and learning occurs through conditioning, training by the environment.
Yes, there
Yes?
are some terms. Yeah, there are some terms that define this theory of behaviorism: stimulus, response, conditioning. Okay, and there have been experiments about it. You must have, come across that Bell and Salivation experiments with a dog and its food, right? So the experiments were done on non-learning behaviors, and this theory did not last long for the same reason that it came from the behavior of animals actually, and it wasn't related to learning a language. It was learning a behavior. Okay, stimulus response. So uh, initially, some of the teaching methods, for instance, rote learning, uh, teaching methods that are related to rote learning or repetitive drill, like audiolingual methods, were based on behaviorism. Okay, a stimulus response, reward, reinforcement. All of these terms are used for for this theory, behaviorism. Okay, so the point is that these methods are just not with us out of nowhere. They are actually based on research, and this research is very, very old. And through this research, there have been continuous improvement in the methods, starting from grammar translation methods that is still in practice. And later in the lecture, I'll tell you that ESP supports grammar translation method for a reason. Okay, and then this audiolingual method, that is a drill method, repetition after the teacher or after a class fellow. A student comes in front of the class, and he keeps on reading, and the rest of the students are asked to repeat after him. Okay, so uh, also I told you that ESP, English for Specific Purposes, is a language teaching method. Okay, first of all, simplifying it, uh, it is it is a field of applied linguistics, first thing. So when we say that it lies in applied linguistics, it is also a method of learning, teaching, and learning of English. Now, what kind of method it is? It is a very advanced kind of method because it takes up eclectic approach. Okay, so I told you about the eclectic approach. Could someone just repeat this eclectic approach for people who were not here yesterday? What is eclectic approach? Very, very quickly. Okay, what is eclectic approach? You can just go to your chat boxes and I can read your answers from there. Okay. Sabah Yasin has said something about this theory of behaviorism. Yeah, this is true. Okay. Right. My next question is, what is eclectic approach? Is what is eclectic approach? Very, very quickly. Right. Who is this? Okay. Pfizer is quite right. You can see in your chat boxes also. It is a combination of teaching methods, strategies, and approaches. Right. And Maheen is also right. The teacher selects a combination of whatever method suits their particular class of their particular group of students, right? So uh, when we say that, ESP takes up an eclectic approach, we mean that it is the most modern method, okay? Because other methods do not mingle or do not accept the rest of the methods. If a teacher chooses to teach the students through task based learning, or for that matter, grammar translation method, GTM, or audiolingual method, so they proceed with all of the characteristics or all of the strategies that only that method allows. But ESP is the most modern method in the sense that it is free to take up any strategies from any of the method according to the need. Okay, so here we come up with an other important characteristic of ESP, that it is need based. Okay, and this is very, very important. This is the core of ESP, that ESP is a need based method. ESP should fulfill the need of the learner. Okay, we'll come to the kind of need because the needs are different, right? So, for instance, first of all, I would like you to reflect on the question that, basically there are two kinds of needs that ESP fulfills. One is the academic need and the other is the occupational need. Okay, so my question is, and it's a very quick question: why are you learning English? What is your need? Is your need academic or occupational? Okay, and whatever your answer is, I would like to give me one reason in chat. Okay, so I'm putting the question down in the chat. What is your need in learning English? You've been learning English since your school days, and still you're learning English. So, uh, is your need academic or is your need occupational? Quickly, guys. I hope, I have taken up ESP uh, and the introductory session in a way that people who did not attend or who could not attend yesterday's lecture, you know, mm, can comprehend now what we are doing. Okay, Maheen believes that our needs are academic. What else? Someone else, please? Very, very quickly, it's a very simple question. Do you comprehend what I'm trying to ask you, please? Let me know if you are unable to, understand what we are talking about, because you'll be lost. And if you're lost, this lecture would be lost. It's academic, okay. Okay. Someone says for future it's occupational, but I'm talking about right now. Why are you learning English? Are you learning English for academic purpose? This okay. Most of us agree. Huh. Mine, you're right. In future, we are not talking about future right now, because you are learning English. You're still learning English, or maybe you have learned English already in college or this school. But my question remains: it's academic or occupational? So most of you believe, and correctly so, that your need of learning English is academic. Give me a reason. How do you say that this is an academic need? Very, very quickly.
Ma'am, like to understand
May
the
I
lecture.
elaborate?
That's very nice. And what else do you do?
May I, may I elaborate, ma'am?
Mahin, let us give someone else a chance, and then I'll get
Sure.
back to you, okay? As my last
Sure.
resort.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, someone else, please. How your need is academic? Now we got a reply. I don't know who replied, but that is very very much correct. That we learn English in order to understand the lectures. That's true. What else? What do you do with Angrezi in your day-to-day university life? What do you do? Where do you use it?
For writing as well.
For writing. And
Ma'am,
what do you write? Okay, understand and communicate. Learn, understand, communicate. Sabha Yasin says it correctly. You write things. What do you write?
Ma'am, actually, there is the needs of its in school, colleges, and university subject like science, media, engineering, and the other kinds. There is higher education opportunity is also available in English learning. Means English for that we are learn.
Okay, that's nice. True that. Yes, Mahin, what do you want to say?
Yes, as a BS English student, it falls under English for academic purposes because the focus is on academic skills such as essay writing, research, and critical analysis rather than job specific communication. Like writing essays, assignments, and research papers, understanding literature and theories, participating in academic discussions. These are all academic tasks, yes? So it's not just job specific tasks, so we will say that it's for academic purposes, EAP.
Yes, very
Is
much
that right?
so. Yeah, very much so. See, every day you are not earning through English language right now. You are only using it for academic purposes. You need English to understand your lectures. You need English to read your books. You need English to write your exam papers. You need English to make your assignments. You need English for your presentation, right? So all of this is your academic need. Okay. There right now there is no professional need. We might be giving you some of the skills uh, for your professional need as well. For instance, giving a presentation in English can be your future uh, occupational need. So many organizations would like you to present something. Okay, when if you become teachers, you are presenting your lectures, right? So we might be giving you skills which fulfill your academic and occupational needs later on, but right now, most of your needs that are fulfilled by English are your academic needs, not the occupational needs. Okay, so there has been a lot of research related to this, and one more thing I wanted to tell. Yes, um, I don't know if you have taken IELTS. What is IELTS or GAT? I think you know about these tests, IELTS and GAT. Okay, anyway, IELTS is a test that you need to, uh, I wouldn't say you need to pass, but you need a certain score. Okay, now IELTS is of two kinds. One is academic IELTS, and the other is general IELTS. Okay, yeah, these are English proficiency tests. Mine, you're right. Okay, so there are two kinds of IELTS. One is the academic IELTS. It needs a certain score, and the score is called as band. And there is a general kind of IELTS. Now, why there are two kinds of proficiency tests? Because academic uh, English for academic purposes needs a different level of proficiency and a higher level of proficiency, I would say. And most of the university would ask you, the highest band is 9, and out of 9 you are scored on 4 skills. Those are we'll talk about the skills also, okay, in a while. So you need a higher band like 7 and 7.5 for academics, right? When the IELTS is academics. Then there is general kind of IELTS, which is easier and is only for people who are going abroad to join their spouses and they just have to, live a regular life. It's only for the communicative purposes so that you can they can, work around things. They can communicate for their needs, day to day needs. So they don't have any academic purposes. They don't have to study, do research, understand lectures, read books. So their band requirement is also low and the test is also easier, right? So even proficiency tests are determined on the kind of need, language need, which is required by individuals. Okay, this is just one of the examples, right? Now, as far as the skills are concerned, um, what do you think? What are the academic language skills and what are the occupational language skills? Can you differentiate between the academic language skills and the occupational language skills? Aska is here. Aska, could you answer this question? What is the difference between two sets of skills? Skill set में क्या फ़र्क होता है in academics and occupational? Aska, I mean, when I call out your name, you should be there. Otherwise, I'll assume that you have just switched on your gadgets and you're gone. You have gone to sleep. I've gone to do something else. Yes, Aska. Oh, Aska says she's here. Okay. Yes, Aska. Uh, would you like to answer this question? Yeah. Okay. I'm repeating the question. Um, what is the difference between the skill sets that are needed for academic purposes and occupational purposes? Do you think that there is a difference in the skill set, language skill set specifically, between for the academic purposes and the occupational purposes? How many of you have understood the question? But just raise your hands. How many of you understand what I'm asking? Okay, right. Sumaya understands. Maheen understands. Okay, Khadija understands that. Okay, at least you understand the question. Very few people understand the question. Is everything all right with this communication that is going on online? Okay, more people, right? I need a regular feedback online because, I cannot see you, I cannot see your expressions. So I need to hear from you constantly and I need to um see your hands raised and I need to get a constant feedback. I'm depending on it actually. Okay, let's go to Sumaya. Yes, Sumaya. Could you answer this question? Just reflect on the question. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer to this. I'm only asking about your opinion, your understanding of academic needs and occupational needs. Nothing serious. You're not being marked on this. Yes, Sumaya. What do you want to say? Sumaya may answer this. Aska, Nadia, anyone, whosoever have raised their hand. Otherwise, we have to go to Maheen again. Okay, Sumaya is saying repeat the question. Sumaya, we know that there are two kinds of needs. Okay, the first thing is that ESP is need based. Second thing is that there are two kinds of needs. One is academic needs, the other is occupational needs. Okay, when we talk about needs, we need to teach certain skills to the students according to the needs. Okay. I'm asking about what are the language skills needed for academic purposes and what are the language skills that are needed for occupational purposes. Okay. Did you get the question now? Okay, we have some answers in the chat, I guess. Um, okay, Sabah Yasin is right as far as, academics is concerned. How about occupational? Okay, to a little extent, you are right. Yes, people, get to your chats. Answer the question. I'm only asking you to reflect. It's just an introductory class. My expectations are very, very low. Quickly, guys. Guys, recording is going on. Please be very, very quick. Otherwise, there will be gaps in the recording. Okay, Khatima is saying something. Academic language. Okay, right.
Ma'am, may I say?
Yeah, yeah. Who's this? Please introduce yourself.
Ma'am, myself is Khatima Ghafoor. May I
Okay,
explain it?
okay. Fine, fine. Yes.
Ma'am, actually, the academic scale, learning English for educational school, college, university, for example, it's using for reading books, writing essay, and assignment, taking exams like that. And for example, our students study science in universities, they need for academic purposes, and other kind, occupational skills purposes this English learning for doing a specific job participation work. So the different between academic and occupational needs, there is the difference of occupational needs following instruction, talking to customers, understand means workplaces task. A teachers, if I give the examples of a teachers are shop workers using English at work, is using it for occupational purposes. And the main differences of this all is academic for student, professionals for a career growth, and the third one is occupationals for doing a jobs. I think I'm correct. May I?
Okay. Okay. Let me put the question in some. Do you know about metacognitive skills? How many of you have an idea of metacognitive? Let me put it in the chat. Metacognitive skills.
Ma'am, I can't see the chat.
Why is that?
Oh no, ma'am, there is no option of chat. Something.
Yesterday, there was a problem, and I tried to fix it today. And most of the people can write down in the chat. I mean, if most of you are able to see the chat and are able to write on the chat, then I hope things are fine today. But anyway, you need to check your settings maybe. Okay, yes, Mahin, what are metacognitive skills? Since you have raised your hand.
Yes, so metacognitive skills, I think there are skills that help you with thinking about and managing your own learning effectively. like
Okay.
planning, monitoring, and evaluating learning, something like that.
Exactly. Metacognitive skills, are uh, skills higher than the simpler skills. Meta means above the cognitive ones, right? For instance, problem solving is a metacognitive skill. Planning is a metacognitive skills. Analyzing situations is a metacognitive skills, right? So the basic language skills are your four skills that are academic skills, right? Since your school times, the focus has been on these four skills, which are reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Okay. The course was designed to meet your this need. You always had a book to read, and they were always reading tests. Okay. Since your grade one, and then listening and speaking were not particularly focused, but you were expected to listen to the teachers, or they would create these also. um, these two skills were not really focused, but sometimes they are focused in the language centers. But the assumption is that when you will read, you'll be able to write, and when you will listen to the teacher talking in English, or they'll ask you to when we were at school, we used to go to the libraries to even watch movies. Our teachers would make us watch movies. The teachers would ask us to listen to the news. So um, the teachers keep on doing different things to teach you these skills. These are the basic academic skills, or these are the basic skills that fulfill the academic need of English as a second language. But the metacognitive skills uh, are those skills that helps you in your professions. Okay, when you join certain professions, you need the skills of problem solving. You need to work in team. You need to communicate well in order to solve the problems. Okay, you plan things, right? And mm, uh, you analyze. Okay, you analyze the data, you analyze your situation, you analyze whatever is happening, you plan, you solve problems. All of these skills are metacognitive skills. Now, my next question for reflection is, how are these related to your language skills, the metacognitive skills? For that, let me show you a slide also. What question I'm asking is this one. ESP needs are non linguistic needs with a linguistic component. Okay, I told you that ESP fulfills certain needs. It's a need based approach. Okay, just remember that ESP is a need based approach. Okay, now if I say that these needs are non linguistic needs, but they are solved through the linguistic component, how does this happen? The need that is fulfilled by ESP is non linguistic. Okay, and I would like you to focus on occupational needs to answer this question. The need is non linguistic, but the solution lies in linguistic, or the component that would solve the need or that would fulfill the occupational need is non linguistic. How do you comment on that? I hope you understand the question. Okay. Um, how many of you have understood the question that I have just asked you? Okay, so Sumaya has understood the question. How many of you have understood the question? You cannot answer till you understand the question. Yes, Nadia. Is your hand raised, or do you want to ask anything, or do you want to reply? You can go to your chat box. You can, raise your hands, whatever suits you, whatever is easy for you. Okay, no restrictions. Uh, who is answering? Yes, Khadija. Did you get the question? Okay. I need to repeat the question a number of times. What I'm trying to tell you is that ESP is a need based approach. One thing, right? The needs are academic and occupational. Right now, I'm talking about the occupational need. Okay. Now, the need is non linguistic with a linguistic component. That is, the need is non linguistic, but the need is fulfilled through linguistic component. How does that happen? How do you comment on that? How do you elaborate that? The need is non linguistic with a linguistic component. Yes, Khadija. Is Shaina here today? Is Shaina here today? I'm just looking for. Okay, Khadija. Nice try. Someone else? Yes, Tayyaba. Do you want to try? It's in your book, and there are examples also. There are examples there. If the slides are visible to you, the examples are already there. Okay, who's answering me the question? It's right there in your. Okay, this is Sabah. The need is not about language itself, but we use language. Yes. Yeah, Sabah is very much right. You can read her comment in the chat box. She's right. Okay. Khadija is also close. Okay. Can someone give me examples from um, academics and an example from occupational needs? One example each. One is on your, on the screen also on the presentation. Okay, anyone else? Like doctors need to treat patients. This is a very good example. If you have not, Sabah, if you have not taken it from the AI, this is a very good example, in fact. Yes, Mahin, do you want to say something or do you want to write something? Sabah is absolutely right. And this example can be applied on all the rest of the occupations as well.
Ma'am, may I see?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so she really did give an good example. I was gonna say the same thing, but let me change my example. Like in business field, the non-linguistic need is like manager needs to negotiate or deal with other people or manage the
Mm-hmm.
company. That's the non-linguistic need. And what is required is the linguistic component. They use English for writing emails to the clients or reports, present reports.
Yeah.
So that's like linguistic component or language skills are used as a tool, as a mean of communication, but they serve another purpose, the non-linguistic needs. Yes?
That's a very good example. Yeah. From you both have given a very good example from the professional need. I would add another example from the professional needs, and then we'll get to the academic needs. I told you yesterday about aviation. Aviation is about flying planes, and then there is a control section, and the pilot needs to communicate to the control section. Okay, for that he needs language, right? But what is his purpose? His purpose is to inform um, the control room, basically. Where are they flying? What time they would be landing? They would be asking for the clearance of the runway. So the purpose is to land safely. This is the purpose. This is non linguistic. Okay. But for that, they need language. And why do we say that, for that they might need ESP? Because it's just not a common language of communication between the control room and the pilot in the plane. There is specific kind of language, or there is specific kind of jargons that are needed for certain kind of, or for such kind of communication, right? So the need is non-linguistic, but the component that would be used to fulfill this need of a safe landing is linguistic. Okay, this is the third example that I'm giving you for occupational needs. Other than that, once you have learned English for your academic purposes, okay, but there are certain academic needs. For instance, you are required to write a research paper. Now, the need is to do research. Okay, it might need a lot of other skills than language. Okay, it needs your skill of observation, it needs your skill of data collection, it needs a lot of other skills, maybe, or whatever field you are researching in. But to put your findings down in the form of a research paper, you need language. Okay, so you have already learned the language, but for even fulfilling the academic, this is an academic need. Okay, research paper writing is an academic need, your report writing is an academic need, even your application writing for leave is an academic need, because you need a leave from in an academic environment, but you need language. Okay, so here on the slide, you can also see that ESP needs are non-linguistic needs with a linguistic component. That is why it is the most advanced language teaching method. It is not actually teaching language, but it is teaching language. Okay, and that is why it takes up the eclectic approach. Um, Also, all the methods. Okay, getting back to different methods, they fulfill certain kind of need. Okay. For instance, I give you the example of the most primitive method. I would call it grammar translation method. What need does it fulfill? Who might be using grammar translation method? What is your guess? What is the need of teaching English through grammar translation method? I don't know how much do you know about grammar translation method, but for now, I would say that grammar translation method is a teaching method in which two languages are used. The target language, which in our context is English, and a native language or a national language, which in our context is Urdu. So the teaching takes place in two languages. Okay. I think this is the only method where two languages are used in teaching one language, right? So, getting back to the need, what do you think when, as ESP teacher, maybe just imagine, just suppose that you are an ESP teacher and you have chosen to use a grammar translation method. What need you might be fulfilling of the students? What would be the need of your students that you have opted for grammar translation method? What is your guess? What is your understanding? Okay. Okay, did you understand my question? How many of you have understood my question, what I'm asking you related to one particular method? For instance, just assume or just suppose that you are an ESP teacher and you have chosen, because as an ESP instructor, you are free. You can take up eclectic approach. You are free to choose any of the teaching methods, language teaching methods, right? So if you have chosen grammar translation method, you have not studied grammar translation method in detail, but I have, just told you the crux of the method. So if you have chosen that method, what might be the need? Who are the people you are teaching? What is their need that you have chosen grammar translation method? Okay, the rest of the people, please get up. Yeah, GTM. Okay. To teach a foreign language through grammar rules, mainly to develop reading and writing skills, like it doesn't focus on speaking or listening skills. Okay. Uh, okay, let me put it this way. Uh, you are fulfilling someone's occupational needs, okay, through teaching them through grammar translation method. So what might be their needs? What do you think? हाँ वो ठीक है Khadija, you are right, this is a very popular method and we teach through this method in our schools, in our colleges, even in our universities. But if professionally you are teaching some people through this method, what do you think? What needs are being fulfilled here? Professional needs. What occupational needs might be fulfilled here? Okay, do not think yourselves to be standing in a primary section teaching English as a second language. Okay, you are teaching through this method to some adults. What might be their needs? Why have you chosen grammar translation methods? Now tell me, now reflect on this. So Maya, your hand is raised because do you want to say something, or it is raised since the beginning of the lecture? Fatima, Khadija, Aska, can you reply now? You have taken enough time. Okay, Aska is here finally. It will enable students to understand and grasp the concept better in language that they already know. This is the primary function of grammar translation method. But can you think of a profession that it grammar translation method can be a professional need? Anyone else? Yes, Aksa, you're right. But the problem is you are thinking yourself to be teaching the primary section or maybe the college students. I'm talking about people joining a certain profession and then you are trying to fulfill their needs through grammar translation method. What might be their profession? Let's put it this way, in simple words. What might be their professional needs or need of their profession that you have chosen grammar translation method? Quickly, guys. Yes, Mahin.
Yes, ma'am.
What might be the profession of people that are being taught through grammar translation method? What profession it might be? What are the needs that are being fulfilled through this method?
Well, before I say that, it mainly focuses on writing and reading, yes, rather than on speaking or listening skills. But as you asked about the professional need, like the people learning through GTM, they can be translators, they can be tutors,
Yes,
because we teachers also use GTM because the student already knows the language and that can helps in understanding or learning another, acquiring another language, foreign language, by translating the vocab and etc.
yeah,
And the major thing that comes to my mind is the word translation,
yes. You
translating.
know, if people have joined or they want to join or they already joined as translators and they need, see, uh, formal translation is something else. When you're given passages in your exams to translate, you actually translate them not informally but formally. It is not even word to word translation. If there are certain idioms, they are translated keeping the sense of the idiom. Okay, so teaching translation is just not a simple task. So people joining the profession as translators, they can be taught the language, they know the language, but how to actually translate it, that can be taught through GTM. Okay, now next thing, there is a method which came right after GTM. It is called as audiolingual method. Um, Without going into details, while you will be doing applied linguistics in detail, you'll get to know this method. There are a number of characteristics, but this is called as the drill method. This was invented for the American army fighting in on a foreign land, and they needed to learn the language. So it was taught through drill. What drill? Repetitive drill or drill of repetition. Okay. So um what what skill is improved through audiolingual method? What is your guess or what is your reflection? What what is taught through audiolingual method? And only one language is used in audiolingual method, that is the target language. If you're teaching them English, you only use English. So what might be the case? This is also used in schools. I told you, um, when the students repeat after the teacher. And this method is usually practiced at the primary level, but as I told you, historically, this method was invented for the American Army to learn a foreign language. So, what can be taught through repetition and drilling? Okay, Khadija is close. And phonemes leads to? What do phonemes lead to? Okay, close. And what skill actually? What might be the need of the people? To? You're very close, Khadija. Pronunciation, okay? If your aim is to teach pronunciation, you will take up audiolingual method. That is repetition. You'll get the exact pronunciation, whatever the leader. By leader, I mean it can be the teacher or it can be the monitor, it can be uh, uh, the student chosen by the teacher who would read, and the rest of the class would repeat a number of times after him. Okay, and while you will be doing this method in detail, there are a number of activities which only leads to repetition. Okay, this helps in the correct structuring, also learning the correct structure through rote learning, and specifically learning the pronunciation. Okay, in that case, audiolingual method is used, right? So it can serve the purpose of occupational needs also, and it can serve the purpose of the academic needs as well, right? Now, for your tomorrow's reflection, I would like you to open your books that I've sent to you, or page number 10. There's an opening reflection, and we have discussed a lot of things related to this. So yeah, mine is right, correct pronunciation. Okay, that's nice. But for tomorrow, I would like you to, open your books. Um, you can read the chapter also, because we'll be meeting next week. Okay. Um, the classes of A section is the classes of A section are completed. I mean, we just have two classes in a week. But for B section, guys, I'm actually out of town. I'll be traveling in the next 2 to 3 days, so I won't be able to conduct another class for you. Um, but I'll let you know, okay? But definitely next week, Monday, I'll be conducting a class. I'll tell you whether it would be a combined class or a separate class, or even it would be an online class. We do not know. Let's wait what university has to say about it. But for today, for the weekend, I expect you to read this chapter. Okay, chapter number 1. There's a lot to be discussed, um, but uh, I would like you specifically to go on page number 10, and there is an opening reflection which tells you, think of some of the things you do in academia or work that might have some kind of language component. Okay, we have discussed a bit about it, but I would like you to reflect on it in detail. Now, imagine you were a doctor. What are some of the things a doctor does that might require language knowledge or skills? Okay, reflect on this. I don't want you to write anything, I don't want you to make an assignment on this, but just read this opening reflection on page number 10. Okay, and communicate it to the rest of your fellows as well, right? Other than that, um, I'm trying to retrieve this recording and I'll send the recording to you as well.